Hey everyone, we use language every single day to connect with each other, to build things, to share ideas. But what happens when that exact same tool gets turned into a weapon? Well, that's the fascinating and really powerful story we're going to get into today. So, this is the big question, right? Is language fundamentally a bridge that brings people together? Or can it be a wall, something designed to keep people out? As we're about to see, the answer is incredibly both. Okay, so let's start with this core idea, the duality of language. At its heart, it really comes down to a fundamental choice we make in how we use our words. I mean, look at this. On one hand, language is all about connection, right? It's for communication, for building community, for creating shared understanding. But when conflict enters the picture, every single one of those values gets flipped on its head. Suddenly, communication becomes encryption. Building community turns into creating barriers. And that need for shared understanding, it gets replaced by a desperate need for secrecy and defense. And this isn't just some abstract theory. This leads us to one of the most remarkable stories from history, where this exact idea was put into practice in the highest stakes environment you can possibly imagine, literally weaponizing a language for war. Now, before we go any further, there's a key term we've got to get our heads around: to codify. This isn't just speaking a different language. No, it's about arranging it into a systematic, secret code. It's about building a whole new system within the language, which is precisely what a legendary group of soldiers called the Code Talkers did. So let's set the scene. It's World War II. The fighting is intense, and information is everything. But messages are being intercepted and cracked all the time, and it's costing lives. The US military had this massive problem. They needed a code that wasn't just tough to break, but one that was absolutely, positively unbreakable. And the solution they came up with? It was pure genius. First, they chose the Navajo language. Why? Well, for one, it's incredibly complex, and crucially, almost nobody outside of the Navajo Nation could speak or understand it. Second, they recruited native Navajo speakers, who became the famous Code Talkers. And third, these men did the unthinkable. They codified their own native language, transforming it from a cherished tool of their culture into one of the most effective and secret weapons of the entire war. But, and this is a really big but, this incredible story of military innovation has a deeply, deeply ironic twist. There's a hidden history here that changes how you see this entire event. Kill the Indian, save the man. Just let that phrase sink in for a minute. This wasn't just some random saying. This was an actual guiding philosophy. Unbelievably, that phrase was the official policy behind a whole network of U.S. government boarding schools, and their stated mission? To forcibly assimilate Native American children. The entire point was to systematically stamp out their languages, their traditions, their cultures, to kill the Indian inside them. And here is the jaw-dropping contradiction. The very same government that had spent decades actively trying to destroy the Navajo language, literally punishing children for speaking it, now found itself in a moment of crisis, turning to that exact language to save the country. The very thing they had declared worthless became their most valuable asset. The irony is just staggering. But you know what? This story doesn't just end there, with that bitter irony. It evolves into something truly powerful, an incredible act of reclamation, and a testament to the power of identity. And that's exactly what we mean by reclamation. Just think about it. The Code Talkers took the language their oppressor tried to erase from the earth and used it to fight for that same oppressor. And in doing that, they weren't just serving a country. They were making a powerful statement about who they were, preserving their identity on a global stage. And the takeaways here are just immense. The Code Talkers proved to the world that culture isn't some kind of weakness that needs to be erased. It's a strategic asset. They showed that your unique identity can be a source of unbelievable strength. And maybe most importantly, they proved that a language targeted for destruction could become the ultimate tool for survival. Which really leaves us with this final thought to chew on. The story of the Navajo Code Talkers is an incredible piece of history for sure, but its lesson is absolutely timeless. It forces us to ask ourselves, even today, how can the very tools that were once used for oppression be flipped, be reclaimed, and be transformed into instruments of power and identity?